Oh, thank you.
Nice
There we are.
catch.
Now,
Nice
now
catch,
we're
Brian.
official. Now
Yeah.
we're official.
All right.
I hope everyone can hear me. I tested my mic earlier, so I think everyone can hear me. So thank you. So again, thank you for being here. It is rough being on a Saturday. I am in the office today because I work for the Kaneohe Marine Corps Base, and I'm the director of safety here. And if anyone hasn't figured it out by now, we have an air show going on. So we got the Blue Angels, and so we're here today. Uh, on site at beautiful Kaneohe Bay. So thank you very much again. But youth protection is very important, and I know just seeing everyone checking in, we have a bunch of new faces, and so a lot of these things, things that I'll be talking about, we're mandated to talk about. It might uh, sound redundant, and this some of the things that we talk about might sound new. So this is designed to be engaging. If you have any questions, please let us know. But what Benson mentioned, it is a lot of information in a short period of time. So we'll make this quick and hopefully get you out on time. So why are we here? Why are we here? Well, Rotary International Youth Protection Training for everyone involved with youth services for several different reasons. We talk about evolving risks and best practices. Abuse and risk over time changes, so it's necessary for us to have annual type youth protection training or training as much as possible, help reinforce our standards. Regularly trained, regular training helps to enforce our strict code of conduct for zero tolerance policy for abuse. Legal compliance. Many of our insurance, regulatory bodies, Rotary international policies mandate periodic, oftentimes annual training. So that's why you're here. We also want to cultivate a safety culture. I think that's really important. If we gather around here for on a Saturday morning, beautiful day in Hawaii, to talk about youth protection, we're cultivating a great safety culture, and we want to make sure that we demonstrate that ongoing commitment. Um, we also want to prevent complacency. Sometimes when we get into our routine and we do all the great things that we do, safety, youth protection may take the back seat, and we don't want that. We want to keep re-engaging, and we want to keep talking about youth protection so that it does stay in the forefront. So I'm sure all of you will agree that youth protection training is necessary to ensure all our members and volunteers are current with the good best practices. So this is just something that I've added, and I added on some of my talks individually with clubs, and we all, we hear it in the news, we see the stories like this all the time. And really what it does, it shows, for me at least, it shows a failure on protecting our youth. The damage that some of the organizations face oftentimes are irreparable. It tarnishes the reputation of any organization whose mission is to do good. We all don't mean to hurt people. Mishaps are unplanned events, and they happen. We just need to make sure that we mitigate a lot of those risks. But all of us, we must protect the youth that we serve, and that's really the bottom line. But not just the youth. We've got the Rotary Club, Rotary International at in its best interest. We really need to make sure that we're protecting the brand, and also our district and our clubs. So it's very important. These little headlines here, it's not something that is confidential or private. This is just things that we pulled from public media. So as you can see, very damaging for some of these organizations. So this is something that I repeat every moment I can, and it's our statement of conduct for working with youth. And this is basically the foundation for our program. And I'll read it verbatim. It's Rotary International strives to create and maintain a safe environment for all youth who participate in Rotary activities. To the best of their ability, Rotarians, Rotarian spouses, partners, and other volunteers must safeguard the children and young people with whom they come into contact and protect them from physical, sexual, and psychological abuse. There is a commitment to this. There is a commitment saying that we must safeguard the children and young people with whom they come into contact and protect them. It's a non-negotiable. It's something that we have to do, and something that should be incorporated in all of the activities and everything that we do dealing with youth. So how do we start? Well, we start with our youth protection guide. This is a very important uh, guide. It's our cornerstone document. It's our cornerstone document that shares Rotary International's commitment to keeping young people safe. It talks about programs such as Interact, Rotary Youth Exchange, RILA. Its importance can be summarized in many different areas. But when we take a look at the meat of the Rotary Youth Protection Guide, it's really our SOP. It's our standardized operating procedures manual. It talks about our safety standards. It gives us clear, detailed procedures and policies designed to prevent abuse, harassment, and other types of harm. Consistency and best practices. Talk about best practices in there. It gives us guidance on crisis and incident response. I outline step by step on what to do for reporting, responding to and investigating allegations. What do you do when somebody comes to you with an allegation? That's stated in the Rotary Youth Protection Guide. It gives us support for local adaptation, meaning that there's a lot of things that we do as that's unique here to Hawaii, and it allows us to implement rules and procedures and guidelines specific to our area. There's a great education and training section on there, and it really talks about accountability and consequences. So this guide for me and for all, it should be for all of us that deal with youth is vital for safeguarding our youth. It empowers our volunteers with knowledge. That's really what it comes down to. A lot of the things that we do as people, a lot of the experiences that we have, we may not know how to address certain things. The Rotary Youth Protection Guide basically standardizes it for us. So it helps us with a way forward. That's really important. So I'm just kind of going off the guide here. The guide, again, should be used as a resource for training. So when you're going back to your clubs and training new volunteers or new committee members, or basically anybody within the club, you can use the Rotary Youth Protection Guide as guidance. And this can be found at the District 5000 website under the Youth Services page. Again, similar to the Youth Protection Guide, our Rotary International District 5000 Policy Manual. There's many manuals that you could find. There's many manuals you can find if you Google. This is the most current one. I suggest that you go to the District 5000 website and pull the manual there. It's the up-to-date one. It's the one that's adopted May 22nd, 2022. So this is the most up-to-date manual. Again, use this as a governing document for our local policy. There's a lot of great information, a lot of the appendices, the forms that we talk about, our club compliance form, etc., are in this policy manual. The policies manual is great whenever you want to not just look at all items, youth protection, but it also talks about membership, running the club. So everything that you need to know about the district and its policies are in this manual. So manual should be used as a resource again to ensure club compliance. Use it in conjunction with the Rotary Youth Protection Guide when you're doing training. And again, this manual can be found online in the District 5000 website. I say this is a foundation for compliance. We all use this policy manual as a definitive resource. So again, refer to this manual. I've been in Rotary for almost 10 years now, and just like our other leaders that have been here for longer, still have to refer to the manual. There's a lot of great information in there, but we all can't remember everything. So just as long as we know what resources to go to is really important. The one thing that's really important for us and really is foundationary is our background checks. Background checks are conducted by IntelliCorp. They're a trusted, reputable organization. They are known for thorough background screening while safeguarding your personal information. How to obtain a background check? Email Natasha at natashaclarence777@gmail.com right there. And she's going to need the following required information: your name, email address, zip code, city and county. So Honolulu, of course, is Honolulu County. Maui, Molokai, Lanai, again, that's Maui County, etc. You'll wait for an email invitation from myself, the Youth Protection Officer, and this email will include a link to IntelliCorp's secure website. And that's where you go in and you put specific information in there. Follow the online instructions and then submit your information and payment. So the cost is anywhere between $14.96 to $20.90. Some clubs, some individuals told me that they've paid in excess of $24 or $25. That's one of the, I guess, the kind of the rare side. But if you have moved from county to county, and if you've moved in multiple places, they may have to go in and do a more extensive search for your information. So it is valid for 2 years. And a background check is required for all adult volunteers working with youth. And I put this down here: while awaiting results, any volunteer awaiting a background check completion or one-time volunteer who is a minor must be accompanied at all times during the event by a fully vetted volunteer. Any questions on this? One question that always comes up is if I get background checked by my organization or my employer, do I still have to go through IntelliCorp for a background check? And the answer to that is yes. And the reason why we do that is because it's a standardized background check program for Rotary for our district. And so we want to make sure that it's standardized.
Peter, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Joni. Hi. The question is, if I have non-Rotarians helping me on a project with the youth, can I get a background check on the non-Rotarians? Do I need it?
It'll depend if they are. So a question came up with that earlier, and so is that non-Rotarian volunteer going to be volunteering often? Is it more than one time?
I'll give an example. Read to me. So we read to kindergarten kids at a elementary school, and I've got a couple who want to participate, and I can use new readers or more readers. They're not Rotarians. They used to be, but they're no longer Rotarians. So they'll be reading to kindergarten kids, but there'll be teachers in the class. I mean, that's a specific, but in general, would I need a background check?
Well, so the idea of the background check is for vetted volunteers in Rotary Club.
Okay.
So, yeah. that's one of the gray areas. There's a little bit, there's managing, uh, and part of the volunteer and the background check process is that we track and we monitor the background checks. And so I'm not an attorney. I don't know what the liability for managing protected information would be for that. I do know that if a volunteer is a non-Rotarian and they're volunteering, such as in an interact, it would fall under maybe the school's vetting process. But as far as the background checks for volunteers, it would be for our members.
Thank you.
Hey, Peter, this is Dennis. I've got another quick one, and I think you've kind of answered it. What about our 3 Interact school teachers who are with our youth and interact all the time and bring them to our projects? I'm assuming they're okay because they're employees of DOE.
It would really, would these be DOE type volunteer events?
Well, they're Rotary events that we have the Interact kids come and help on. And the teachers, their sponsored teachers who are running Interact for us usually come, in fact, they always come with them. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I don't think they would need background checks because they're employed school teachers at DOE, but that's just what I'm.
No, you're right, Dennis. And again, being that these teachers are employed and vetted through the school, they've gotten vetted through the school, they've gotten their background checks. Interact is a program within the school, so they would be okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Peter, quick question, West Monkahala Sunrise.
Hi, Wes.
Our Interact Club are middle school age children, so a lot of times their parents always come and they like to volunteer and help out. So would there be special consideration for parents of the children?
Oh, Wes, that's a great question. Similar to like when my wife comes out and helps one time a year for volunteering. She doesn't necessarily have to have a background check, but we'll make sure that she's with a vetted volunteer, vetted person, and she's not alone with a minor at any time. So these are things that we have to really consider when we're doing volunteer work and doing events, that we understand and we know who our volunteers are, and knowing who has already been vetted through and who isn't, and making sure that the unvetted volunteers or the one-time volunteers or the temporary volunteers are always with someone who has been vetted.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? It's really good stuff.
Here, this is Alan Okinaga from Hilo Bay.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Hi. Just to answer the question about the Department of Education in Hawaii, they are all required to undergo a vetting process that includes background checks and requirements, and that's part of this Chapter 7, Title 8 of the Administrative Rules.
I have
Thanks, Alan.
my name's Lori. Can y'all hear me? I'm from Lahaina Sunset.
Hi, Lori.
Hi there. Yeah, I also was a bit confused about the background check only because um like if I got a DUI, like I don't want to be disqualified from helping kids when I have, you know, done things to improve my life. So I think, in general, that's what a lot of us are like, okay, well, I know teachers at Lahaina Luna that, have been to jail and they've turned around their life. And so I think that um you just have to, everybody just I think it's just feels a bit intrusive when we're all volunteers trying to help the community. I think that's the overall feeling. And so anyway, I did the background check and just like everybody else, but I also had some of the similar viewpoints and concerns that I think other people would, just being a Rotarian ourselves. So that was just my thoughts on that.
Thanks, Lori. No, and I absolutely understand, and I really do advocate for folks changing their lives and wanting to do better. Absolutely. With the Rotary Club, we've got strict guidelines as far as who can work with children. If you have ever had, and the reason why we do background checks is that if there's anyone that has been convicted with a felony, they're not allowed to work with kids, or work with kids. If they had any background with in terms of abuse or some sort of aggravated assault, those things are categories that will not allow you to work with youth. As a
Understood.
volunteer, as a volunteer, if you're doing beach cleanup as a group and not working with children, this is specifically designed to vet through individuals working with children. So absolutely, and we have a duty to protect, but also I absolutely understand the folks that are wanting to do better for themselves.
Peter, this is Clay Payne from West Honolulu. Question:
Clay.
every year we have members of our club that volunteer for the scholarship interviews. So, are you
Yes.
saying that the three people from our club that volunteer to interview the kids for the scholarship they have to be vetted?
I would say that they should not be alone with kids, and I don't want to say we want to be smart with how when we take a look at the guidelines and we take a look at our requirements and what we're mandated dealing with youth, every volunteer, anyone working with youth have to go through a background check. Now, that gives us there's some autonomy to that per the clubs that Rotary International gives our district. And so we're able to go and do things like do the interviews. Maybe, one time a year, we'll have a panel of interviewees and that are not background checked. But we want to make sure that we have one person that is alongside with them who's been background checked. And we'll never have a time where those students will be alone with children. We have a duty to protect them as well.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peter, this
Yes.
is Eugene Price from Metro Club.
Hi, Eugene.
Hi, how do we get a list of who in our club is still okay to, work with kids? I mean, is there a list that we can look at? Because I'm not sure who in our club is vetted.
Oh, okay. Natasha has a list of individuals for the clubs, and we can share that with leadership. And it's a great list because some folks think that they're still their background check is still valid and they've expired 2 years ago. So it's a great way for us to scrub the list and find out who's current and who's not.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Can I
welcome.
make 2 comments?
Absolutely.
Dick Bosco here. Number one, you talk about like your scholarship committee, I guess for HRYF. We have the same thing too. The main thing is, the chairman should be vetted. The other 2 don't have to be because he's there, he's vetted. And main reason we do with the chairman of the committee, because afterwards he or she will take the student we chose that got the funds, how to react to the committee, type of questions are going to be asked, and so forth. So you just need your chairman vetted. The second thing is, are you concerns about, your background check and so forth? Please remember the first main concern is the kids, not us. That's my comments.
Dick, you make a good comment, and HRYF has already booked me for January to come talk to you guys regarding youth protection. But You're absolutely right, and it's just being smart and understanding that really the whole premise for getting the background check is to ensure that we really know the volunteers that are working with our youth. Again, we have a duty to protect them, but that's a good point. Again, having one volunteer who's been vetted in the area with people that have not been. Again, the idea is never leave the youth alone with volunteers that have not been vetted. Always have somebody that has gone through a background check. Okay, we're good.
Hey, Peter, I just talked to Natasha. Her list is not by club, it's by name. So people need to give the name of the person and then she can check it.
Oh, okay. Thank
I'll
you
put
for
her email-
verifying that.
Okay, I'll put her email in the chat.
Thanks, Naomi.
Peter, my name is Tracy Hargrave from Eva Beach.
Hey,
So
Tracy.
my background check had just expired or is about ready to expire. And so I contacted Natasha, and for some odd reason, my application is not coming through for me to get my background check again. So she tried a different way, and still yet I have not received the an email to do the background check, redo the background check again. Is there any other way that I could get it done again?
Unfortunately, this is the only way to get it done. You checked your spam folders or anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Natasha can reach out to you. She even tried to do it going and putting my name on with her email and then try to say, but it wasn't working. So
Okay.
I'll talk to Natasha to talk to you and see if how we can do this then.
Yeah,
It's
Tracy, absolutely. We can do this offline and we'll get you squared away.
okay. Thank you so much, Peter.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so our club compliance statement, it's our formal document that each Rotary Club must complete to certify its compliance with Rotary International and the District 5000 Youth Protection Policy. So every club is to review and sign this form attesting to your club's youth program compliance. So one section on there says that has a representative been through youth protection training, and all of you have that are in here have completed that wicket. So that's one less thing that you have to do. But you want to take a look at making sure that your program is in accordance with the district. Require the volunteers to have that volunteer affidavit and forward the copies. Follow reporting guidelines. So it's really understanding what the guidelines are and promptly reporting. So there's a section on reporting, and it really is an attestment to your club compliance. And so we want to make sure that we adhere to what those wickets specify. We want to make sure that we have the required signatures. We also want to make sure that we have proof of policies and procedures and making sure that we do retain the records that we say are compliant. If we have youth protection training, we want to make sure that we have a roster of who's in that training so that we can say that, yes, absolutely, we've gone through that. And it helps promote our ongoing compliance. But really, the reason, again, is to attest our adherence to youth protection protocols. So we need to make sure that this is an important document. We can find this document at District 5000 website. I didn't add the link there. I can make sure that you folks have the link to that. It is also in the appendices in the manual, in the policy manual.
Also, the presidents got emailed this form, so they can look at their email.
Makes it too easy, Naomi. Thank you. Volunteer affidavit. This is again, we want to make sure we know who's working for us. We want to make sure we understand the people that are volunteering, and we know We have to have some sort of standardized form, a standardized way to vet through these people, not just through background check, but through a method of reference. So you can utilize this program, volunteer affidavit, David, to screen the applicants. Again, this can be found in the District 5000 website and in the District 5000 policy manual. You want to send this to me because I'm tracking our volunteers. Records will be retained for 3 years. So basically I go and I scrub them after that. But we want to know who our volunteers are. And this gives us a guide on what questions to ask. And it standardizes the process a bit. Crisis management plan. This is really important for us to talk about. We want to be prepared to respond. So a crisis management plan or an E8, we call it a CMP for Rotary, but again, like an emergency action plan, sort of emergency protocol plan. But the crisis management plan is developed with a set of protocols designed to help folks deal with real and perceived emergency situations when they arise. So emergencies, again, are unplanned events. We don't plan these, they just happen, and they happen oftentimes when we least expect them. So we want to make sure that we have some sort of standardized plan to react. Preparation is key. A lot of the real and perceived emergencies turn into big crisis when we don't address it right away. So training protocols really ensure that everyone knows what their roles are and they can act promptly. It's important for us to treat even perceived emergencies that, some things that could go wrong seriously because they have the potential to escalate. Sometimes the perception of danger alone can create panic or distress. So we want to make sure that the plan ensures that both real threats that are suspected are managed calmly and professionally, reducing the chance of incident. Because the one thing that we don't want when we're reacting to an emergency is or an unplanned event or a mishap is to be running around and not knowing what to do. We have folks with cell phones that take pictures, that video that are quick to put it into media. We want to make sure that we're professional and we know how to respond to crisis very systematically. And so that's really important. So how do we start? It's very easy. You go to the developing a crisis management plan on Rotary.org. There's a template there. It'll show you exactly what to do. Some of the things that you need to do, this is not a one-person operation. You want to designate the team. Team will be there to aid in the planning of the crisis management plan. The team gets together and determines what risks exist. If a club does an annual beach cleanup, then this is something that you want to put in your crisis management plan. What to do when a child's missing, what to do, what notification roster is out there, who do we contact first. You want to make sure that everyone is on the right page and you develop a team to come up with these ideas and come up with the plan cohesively. You also want to consult with local experts like law enforcement. They may have some sort of insight that will help you with the plan. But you want to develop a plan and protocols that address each type of crisis at various levels. Like we had the tsunami last week. What if we didn't have it last week, we had the tsunami scare. Well, we did have a tsunami. But what do we do if we're in the middle of an event and the sirens go off? How do we deal with that? And we want to make sure that we plan or at least have something in place that will address things like communication. So the crisis management plan should have a communication plan. And communication is key. So it ensures that everyone is informed, prepared, and trained on an ongoing basis. Crisis management plan, it's part of what we do. Oftentimes when we talk to clubs, they loosely have something. It's mandated, and we should have something. I'm here as a resource for you. This is basically emergency preparedness is what we do here at the Marine Corps base. We have templates, we have resources that we could go ahead and assist your clubs as well. So let me know. But yeah, crisis management plan, very important to have. And it should be portable when we're going out and doing events outside. Make sure that somebody carries the crisis management plan, maybe in a binder or something, so you have everyone's phone numbers on there. You know exactly what to do when something occurs.
Peter,
Yeah.
Dennis here, not to drag this out, but
No, Dennis.
wouldn't it be better kind of using our military approach when you go on an exercise or an event, you always have a risk assessment and a kind of same thing as a crisis plan? Wouldn't it be better to do this just for each event? It's kind of hard to do a generic one. So every time, like you mentioned, a beach cleanup or whatever, wherever you're going to have youth, then you develop a plan like this specifically for that event. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense, Dennis. In fact, you're speaking my language there with risk management. Absolutely. The crisis management plan really is an overview. It's an emergency action plan. A little different, similar, but a little different from a organized risk management plan. And we'll go over risk management a little bit. But the crisis management plan is that one go-to document that if anything happens, you can go on that, and it may not be specific to an actual event that you're having, but it gives you a good overview what to do when cellular phones go off, and how do we muster everyone together. Talks about emergencies. If there's an emergency, who do we call? If it's not a life emergency, who do we call? So it differs in a way, but it's meant to at least standardize some of our some issues that may arise.
Got it. Thanks.
Youth protection procedures. Again, District 5000 sets the procedures for volunteer selection, screening, training, and youth protection, which are outlined in the District 5000 policy manual. There's very little interpretation in this. It spells it out for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There may be some adjustments that you have to make specific to your demographic or your area, but they basically our youth protection procedures should remain the same foundationally. But very important, we have two sections on there: volunteer selection and screening, and volunteer training. Selection, again, we want to make sure that every adult volunteer submits a youth volunteer affidavit that we spoke about earlier, and providing a criminal background check. The background checks, again, it's mandatory, and we want to make sure that we understand, we know who's volunteering for us and working with us, or who's in our committee. Volunteer training, very important, training specific to the program. Volunteers must complete youth protection awareness training before having any direct involvement with youth. So it's not just having the background check, but actually conducting training. We'll go over a web-based training platform that we have here for for Rotary International that I'm really excited about. The frequency, you train people as frequent as you need. A lot of us, sometimes we need our refresher training, but training is renewed I would say at least annually, or whenever there are updates to district or international levels. And the standardized curriculum. District 5000 policy manual provides good framework or training framework to ensure that everyone delivers consistent information aligned with best practices and local needs, to include, again, abuse, harassment, and crisis prevention. Recognizing abuse and harassment. These are things that some of us may not be experts in. It depends on our upbringing, our experiences. I have 2 adult daughters, and so raising them, I have an idea of what to look for, whether or not they're going through emotional, verbal, and neglect. So a lot of this is from personal experiences, but we're not experts at this. Our youth protection guide gives us some insight on what to look for. And really, we want to make sure that we recognize some of the abuse and harassment. We want to be aware of the signs of abuse. We want to be observant. When someone's normally cheery, especially when we're working with kids that interact and we work with them often, we know their personalities. If someone is always cheery and excited, and now they are kind of moping around, that could be a sign of an issue. But one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to overanalyze. We want to be aware, because sometimes the changes of behavior might just be because they're homesick, maybe a cultural adjustment, maybe they're just not having a good day. So we want to be cognizant. We don't want to overanalyze, but youth protection depends on awareness and a possibility of abuse and vigilance against guarding it. Okay. Abuse and harassment of young people can go unaddressed when adults fail to recognize them. That's really important. These are things that you can find in the youth protection guide, some insight, and the web-based training that I'm going to be talking to you about in a little bit goes through a lot of the things that you can, a lot of the best practices on how to recognize abuse and harassment. So how do I report a concern? Well, first, we want to make sure that the young person, the youth, is in a safe environment. In case of imminent emergency, in case there's some sort of issue, a child has been harassed, and we have to use great judgment on that. Call law enforcement immediately. You are empowered to do that, and then you report your concern to Rotary International using there's 3 buttons on there, using the button below within 72 hours. So this is a new current reporting website. It used to be through a company called iInsight, but now it's called Case IQ. This is what the Rotary International rules for youth protection state. They state that we have to report through the Rotary International website. I would say, as a best practice for our district, is still report to me first, so that we can go ahead and deploy local support immediately. So basically, one person reports and we'll report that to leadership. And sometimes it's a lot easier for us to react and deploy our resources immediately locally, rather than sending it immediately to the online reporting method. I went on to the report online just to kind of play with it a little bit. It's very intuitive. It's great. It asks a lot of questions. You also can call. There's some dialing instructions to call, and then you can also email. There's an email address on there that goes directly to their email inbox. Again, if it's timeliness is key. In our initial reaction will dictate how well something can be resolved. We want to make sure that we take care of it as soon as possible. I know I'm running out of time, but risk management is very important. The purpose of risk management is to encourage our youth services to consider how they will provide for the safety. So again, it's planning. Always plan. Utilize historical data. Understand, let's say, for instance, the terrain. We want to know if we do a beach cleanup, there's bathroom facilities. We want to plan for student to adult ratios. Weather. We want to understand weather. The more planning, the better risk reduction. And Dennis can attest to this. We want to make sure that we plan for things that could go wrong. By recognizing unique challenges, we've put together some great points, But what we want to do is consider what risks are involved and put plans into place that will eliminate or even reduce it to an acceptable level. So we always want to ask ourselves, does the risk outweigh the benefit? So some questions, and I'm going to go ahead and go through this quick, but some questions we want to consider when we're putting together an organized risk management plan. What is the layout for the location and space? Where is the program being held? Could that space pose a danger to a minor? And I'll bring up beach cleanups again, because to me, these can pose the most riskiest, but we want to understand, will it be a flat area where people can walk or kids can walk? Do they have to hike or walk a certain distance before they get to the site that they're doing the community service at or the event? How will the program ensure that the minor's not left alone? That's very important. Again, supervisory ratios. We'll have a bunch of youth between the ages of 8 and 10. Is it appropriate to have 4 students with 1 vetted volunteer? Is that too many? Is that too many kids? We have to ask those questions. Is a program in a public place? What measures will we take to supervise outsiders? A great example of that is our Genki Ball program, where we have other volunteers from other organizations kind of commingled with our volunteers. How do we make sure that we put measures in place to supervise and make sure that we're tracking on the children? How will the program volunteers handle volunteers or staff? So that's kind of goes along line with what I just said, but not having unauthorized adults in the program. How will minors be dropped off and picked up? I put that in there because that was something that I experienced myself, where we're a trusting culture. And so if we have a roster list and it says dad's going to pick up this youth, and maybe dad couldn't make it because he's working late and auntie comes to pick him up, do we release that child to auntie? Is there anything that we have planned? So we want to make sure that we understand fully and not deviate that from that. Check-in and check-out process is very important. Online safety is very important. Again, this is kind of the mechanism of how we conduct a lot of our training and a lot of our meetings. Zoom meetings, similar like Teams, are common, but be aware of storing information. We want to establish clear policies and expectations. We have to have at least the host has to be a vetted volunteer. We don't know what people's intentions are. Right now, you just see my face right here, but you don't realize that I'm videotaping you or I'm taking down information. So we want to be sure that we establish clear policies and expectations, supervise and make sure that this transparent. We want to put out very clear housekeeping rules and state, maybe state to people, we are recording. At no time do you need to record this on your phone. And then just put that out there so everyone really understands they understand the expectation. And we also do have an electronics and online safety PDF that was published by Rotary International. A great document to take a look at. A lot of good information. So training. This is great. If we have time, I'll go ahead and log on to the training portal, but it's on learn.rotary.org, and it's a webinar. So it is a web-based training. This right here, Protecting Youth Program Participants 25-26. It's creating a safe environment. I've gone through this. This training is wonderful, a lot better than what they had before. It's interactive. It really speaks about the protection policies, your role in safeguarding youth, appropriate and inappropriate behavior. It goes on, and it gives a knowledge check after each section. Very interactive. This is a great mechanism to train your committee members, or quite frankly, anybody in your club. I love this this new training webinar, web-based training. So again, I urge all of you to at least go in there and log on and take a look. But what for this one particular training, it talks about learning to identify early signs of abuse, engage in interactive scenarios, and understanding Rotary's reporting procedure. So that's just a few things that are the focus on this training. We got something else coming up, and so I can't go without talking about weighing the benefits of Rotary Youth Services Program against the potential risks. So this is coming up on the 16th, August 16th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that is 9, 10, 11, 12, 3 hours ahead of us. So if you want, go on here. We'll be on here taking a look at some of the updates and some of the things that talk about risk. Very, very great. Should be a great session. Best practices, takeaways, kind of the same thing that we've always been talking about for us that are new. Provide an environment for youth to grow, become productive. Remember, we're mentors. Recognize and address abuse and harassment. Be aware of, is it appropriate to be alone with a child? You have to ask that question. Be aware, local policies. So DOE policies may be a lot more stringent than ours. We want to follow the more stringent rules. We also need to be cognizant and follow our rules as well. Hi. Sorry. Encourage volunteering, but scrutinize those volunteers. Again, we need to know who's working for us. You represent Rotary. No profanity, no offensive behavior, no bad language. We got to understand that these kids see us and they experience a lot from us. So we want to make sure that we are providing the best experience possible. We want to represent our clubs and represent our district and represent Rotary International the best. Ask yourself, conduct a risk analysis. Ask yourself, is hugging or giving a kiss appropriate? That's our culture. Or is giving a handshake or knuckles a better choice? We have to ask that.
Peter,
Yes.
Peter, Lasar has a question in the chat, and she's asking, what if the predator or bully is a teenage son or daughter of a Rotarian?
Oh, we have to separate that child. If that person is in volunteering, that person cannot be next to our can't be in our events. They can't be interacting with any of the youth that's working with us.
As a follow-on question, it's more of a risk, not necessarily that person or that teenager, we know is a problem. So, not sure how this program can help that situation. What do you think?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm saying is sometimes there's a threat from a teenager in a household. There was an incident with somebody had a Rotary exchange student, and the teenage son did hurt her. They didn't know that was going to happen. Is any of what we're learning today useful or could address that potential situation?
Recognizing abuse and harassment, that's kind of a specific like a specific scenario. If there is a family member or someone that is volunteering or involved with the I'm going to stop sharing. I'm sorry. If that one person is involved with the Rotary Club and their son's tagging along and he's known to be bullying, I mean, I think that's really easy. That person just should not be there and just shouldn't be
Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter,
right. It's
Peter,
more a case of what if you don't know until it happens?
Well, you're not going to know until it happens. You're absolutely right. But if the parent knows that I have an aggressive son that's out there and making trouble, that's a hard one. We have to really kind of um, we have a duty to protect. Unfortunately, we try to front load or try to prepare for these things, but unfortunately, a lot of the things that we do is we have to react. And so when something happens, we have to react to it. But if that person is known to be I guess a troublemaker, then they should not be part of our, or known to abuse, they should not be part of the program.
Peter, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about host families for youth exchange. In those cases, that family is really goes through a lot of training and discussion with the all family members about all the do's and don'ts. So, but in this case, it was a sexual encounter, and it's not the first time. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be the last time. If something just happens, and they have a crisis management program set up to handle those things, but it does happen. But they go through a lot stricter training process and being approved to be one of those host families.
Yeah, no, Dick, you're right. You go through the entire family, the space, everything goes through a vetting process. Um, it's these are some of the things that we want to prepare for, but we can't fully prepare for it until it happens, unfortunately. I believe we've had some youth exchange where the youth go out and stay out all night, and they'll go and smuggle in cigarettes or drink, have a couple of drinks, and they're troublemakers themselves. So how do we react to that? And so sometimes we can put plans in place, but it's really not until something happens that we're able to react. But if we do know that, for one,
Peter,
there's
Rotary Youth Exchange is also managed at the district level, right? So that's less of a club level concern and more of a district management level concern, right?
absolutely
For the youth exchange.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is we want to prepare it for it. A lot of the vetting for exchange and even for the any of the events that we do, we try to vet as much as possible so that we could prevent some of the issues that may arise. And so I know that's kind of an open-ended answer. I don't know if that's really a good direct answer, but yeah, it's one of those one-offs that we really have to address when it does happen. Hopefully we have plans in place, and the vetting process kind of weeds that out. That's kind of what we hope. I think, Anita, you have something, but you're on mute. Yeah, you're still on mute.
You're still muted, Anita.
Okay, Peter, we're past our time, so let's have
Yeah.
Nancy close us up.
Thank you. Yeah, well, as your district governor, I'm just really pleased to see so many. I think we had about 75 Rotarians on this training, and that means that our clubs are going to be extra alert and extra protected. And being that I've my kind of comment is kind of be paranoid all the time when we've got our youth, because we have to protect them within our program and within our own volunteers that we can hopefully control, but even outside the public, and as we look at policies and know that our district is here to help you set up some of those policies, and maybe we can look at creating some simple outlines that, you know, welcome everybody, but all we want to make sure that if you're a youth, you don't go to the public restroom alone, that you always have a partner, that if you're outside of where your parents are or something, and look at those, you know, casual volunteers that may be driving your youth to RILA, making sure that they're not alone one-on-one with a student, or that they're just hanging out around your location, because pedophiles are extra sneaky and extra looking for what I call that crime of opportunity. So know that we've got to be a little bit more paranoid and a little bit more suspicious, and that's okay. We're not bad people for wanting to check on everybody. So this is excellent job, Peter. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you all for attending, and just all of us just be extra alert all the time. It's a crazy, ugly world that it's out there. So it's more important that we have to keep doing our programs and not let this paranoia and this fear stop us. So know that we're out there. We can help you with your individual questions, or maybe set up good programs for different kind of scenarios when you're going to have it, and announce it to everybody. We're welcome here, and these are our policies, and let the parents and the youth know this is how we do this. Okay. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, Naomi and Benson, for putting all this together. And thank you all of wonderful of Rotarians for attending. Mahalo.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay.